Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to solve one of the SQL interview question which is asked in JP Morgan interview procedures. So first we will go through a problem, understand the logic step by step and implement the solutions in a SQL. So if you are preparing for any data engineering or SQL or database interview, then this video is for you. So first, let's start with the question. The question is find for each customers, write a SQL query to find the dates, durations of their longest gap in a day between the two consecutive order. So we have order tables. We need to find for each customers. And if you see in order tables, we have order ID, customer ID, order date and amount column. And if you see for each customer, we have four customer. One is a John, second is a Saurabh, third customer is a David we have. So now we need to find or we need to write a SQL query to find the date and the durations of their longest gap in days, longest gap in a days between two consecutive order. Consider for a John as a single customers, and if you see he has orders on a 5th of Jan, 12th of Jan, and after that he has ordered 20th of March and a 25th of March. So for each customers, like for each customers, we need to find days duration. We need to find the longest gap in a days between consecutive order. So if you see in this order, we can say we have a almost 7 days gap. In these we have almost more than 60 days gap we can say, and for these orders or consecutive orders we can say we have 5 days gap. So this is the order ID 2 and the 3 we can say from 12th of Jan to 20th of March. It is the longest gap in a day for a John customer. Same like that we need to find for a Saurabh. Also, we need to find for a David. If you see a David, order date is first order date is 10th of Jan, second order date is 20th of Jan, fourth order date is like uh, 1st of April. So if you see for a David, from the 20th of Jan to the 1st of April, their longest, we can say longest gap in a days between. So this is the 72, and for the Saurabh also you can find that way. So we need output in this way, like the customer ID, how many days gap in a consecutive order, how many longest day gap in a consecutive order, that start date, from which start date to which date they have a longest gap. So let's start with the solution. We have order table. Start with this. First we need to find the difference between like this second order and the first order, like the third order and the second order, fourth order and the third order, because these are the consecutive order. For that I'm going to use the CTE functions, like the I'm going to find the longest gap as I'm going to select. First I will select stars, and to find the gap between the two consecutive orders, I'm going to use the lag windows function. That functions will give me, like, first let's see lag, what lag functions will give me. Lag is the window function, basically used to find the, like the we can say used to find the difference between the consecutive order. So I'm going to use the lag function, lag of which order date from, sorry, lag of order date over partition by over partition by I'm going to use the cust id and order by order date in ascending order, because we need to find the gap between the two consecutive order as a, we can say, a gap start date. You can say gap start date. Okay, let's first run the query and see what output we are getting from this query from order tables. Okay, order date. Okay, order by. We have, I think, is the syntax here. So let's run the query once again. See, now if you see, I need a order date and the gap start date. So what I did, like I took the last order in front of the second order in front of the third order, and also in like in a partition by cust ID. For this David cust ID, for John cust ID, I took the first order in front of the second order in front of the third order in front of the fourth order. So I have taken the before that I use the lag function. So now I need to do a minus. So I will get the consecutive gap between the two dates, like from this date to this date, this date to this date, this date to this. So I need to use the minus function, but I can't use directly minus functions on a date. So first, for that we need to use like, okay, for that we are going to use the date different functions to find the gap between the two consecutive dates. So I'm going to use the date diff built-in function, date diff built-in SQL functions. Date diff built-in SQL functions start take only three parameters. First, how many days difference do you want? Second, what they want? Second, they want from this column to this column. We need to minus from gap start date minus order date. So I'm going to take this directly, like I'm going to take control C, day, and third column, which is the order date, as I can say, uh, longest gap days. So what I'm doing actually, I'm finding the day difference between the two days, like the gap start date minus order date. So I will get the difference between the two date. Okay. Now if you see, I got the difference between the two date. So this date difference is the null. This date difference is the 10 days. This date difference is 72 days. This date difference is the 7 days. This date difference is the 86 days. So I get the difference between the two consecutive date for each customer ID, or we can see each customer ID for the each customer ID. Now we need to find what we need to find now. Now we need to find only, we have got the day difference from the each consecutive order, we can say. So now we need to find only the longest difference for each customer. So let's use as a LG orders as select. I'm going to select star from first city, and I'm going to use the row number function. Why we use the row number? Because row number functions will give the uh, longest gap in a day between the two consecutive orders. So it will give the row number. So we will choose the first row number as the longest gap for the each customer ID by using partition by. So I am going to use the partition by, which partition by cust ID, and order by we can say longest gap day in longest gap day in a descending order. So I'm going to give name as a row number. Okay, from which column we are going to use, from longest gap city. Now first, let's see what output we are getting in the second cursor. Select star from which tables order LG. Okay, longest order. And now if you see, In a LG orders, we are getting the longest orders row number as a 1 because we have used the partition by cust id and order by longest gap difference. This is the longest gap difference. We are getting the 1 as a row id. For the second longest gap difference, we are getting the second cust id. We are getting the 1 as a row id. Also for the Saurabh, which have a 14 days longest gap difference, we are getting the row numbers as a 1. So I am going to select where I'm going to select which column I'm going to select. I need only 4 columns. First is cust ID. Okay. Second, what I need is cust ID. Second, what I need is the gap start date. I can say gap start date, gap start date. Third is the order date. Order date as a, we can say gap end date. End date. And fourth, what we need is the longest gap day. How we will get the longest gap day here in this query? If we select the row number as a 1 in a where clause, if we select row number as a 1, so we will get the longest gap date where rn is equal to 1. So I will get the longest gap date. Let's run the query and see what output we will get. So now if you see, let's run the both query once again with a table name. Okay, same like that. For if for a Sarah, if you see the longest gap date is the 14. If you see Sarah, we have a 4 entries. First is the 2nd of Feb to 15. This is the 14-day difference. This is the 15 to 28. It is uh, 13-day difference, and this is the 20 to 8. This is a 12-day difference. So this is for a Sarah longest gap difference is 14 days. Thank you. I hope you understand this concept. If this is your first time visiting the channel, please make sure to subscribe. If you have any doubts, drop a comment below and don't forget to hit a like button. Thank you.